Have you ever prayed and felt like heaven was completely silent? You prayed with all your heart. You asked God for guidance. You asked Him for help. You asked Him for a sign. But instead of answers, there was only silence. No open doors. No clear direction. No sudden breakthrough. Just silence. And in that silence, something dangerous begins to grow in the human heart. Doubt. You begin to wonder, did God hear my prayer? Did I do something wrong? Has God forgotten about me? Many people experience moments like this in their spiritual journey. Moments when God feels distant. Moments when prayers seem to disappear into the quiet. But here is something very important you need to understand today. God's silence does not mean God's absence. Just because God is quiet does not mean He is inactive. In fact, some of the most powerful things God does in our lives happen during seasons when He appears silent. Moments when nothing seems to be changing. Moments when the answers have not yet arrived. Moments when faith feels difficult. Because sometimes, before God does something great in your life, He allows a season of silence. Not to abandon you, not to ignore you, but to prepare something far greater than you expected. And if you are going through a silent season right now, if you are praying and wondering why God has not answered yet, then this message may be exactly what you need to hear today. Because there is a reason behind the silence. And once you understand it, your entire perspective about waiting on God will begin to change. One of the most difficult experiences in the life of faith is when God feels silent. You pray. You ask for guidance. You ask for clarity. You ask God to open the right doors and close the wrong ones. But days pass. Weeks pass. Sometimes even months pass. And nothing seems to change. The silence feels heavy. You begin to look around your life wondering if something is wrong. Maybe you start questioning yourself. Maybe you wonder if you prayed the wrong way. Maybe you wonder if your faith is not strong enough. Or maybe you begin asking a deeper question. Where is God? But here is something that many people misunderstand about the silence of God. God's silence does not mean God has stopped working. In fact, some of the greatest movements of God happen in moments when we cannot see anything happening at all. God often works behind the scenes, quietly, patiently, carefully arranging things that we cannot yet understand. Think about a seed planted deep in the soil. When a seed is planted, nothing seems to happen at first. From the outside, the ground looks exactly the same. No growth, no change, no visible sign that life is forming. But underneath the surface, something incredible is happening. The seed is breaking open. Roots are forming. Life is developing where no one can see it. And if someone were impatient and dug up the soil too soon, they would destroy the very process that was meant to bring life. In many ways, God works in our lives the same way. When God plants a promise in your life, when He places a dream in your heart, there is often a period of hidden preparation, a period where things grow beneath the surface. And during that time, it may feel like nothing is happening. But God is working. He may be aligning the right opportunities. He may be preparing the right people to enter your life. He may be moving circumstances in ways that you cannot see yet. Because the truth is this: your life is not shaped by a single event. It is shaped by countless moments, decisions, and encounters that unfold over time. And God sees every part of that bigger picture. While we see only the present moment, God sees the entire story. He sees the beginning. He sees the middle. And He sees the ending. That is why His timing often looks very different from our expectations. We want answers immediately. We want doors to open right away. We want clarity as soon as we ask for it. But God is not only thinking about the next moment. He is thinking about the next season of your life, the next chapter, the next opportunity. And sometimes those things require time to come together. Imagine a master artist painting a large and complex masterpiece. If you look at the painting halfway through the process, it might not make sense yet. Certain colors may seem out of place. Certain shapes may look unfinished. But the artist knows exactly what he is creating. He sees the final picture long before anyone else can. In the same way, God sees the finished picture of your life. And while we may focus on the confusion of the current moment, God is carefully shaping the final result. This is why seasons of silence often require the deepest level of trust. Because trust means believing that God is working, even when you cannot see the evidence yet. Trust means continuing to pray even when the answers feel delayed. Trust means believing that God has not forgotten you, even when heaven feels quiet. And the truth is, silence often happens right before something important. Many people in life give up too soon. They stop believing just moments before the breakthrough arrives. They lose hope during the waiting season. But the waiting season is often where God does his most important work, not just in the world around you, but within your heart. Because while God is preparing the future, he is also preparing you. He may be strengthening your patience. He may be deepening your faith. He may be shaping your character so that when the next door opens, you are ready to walk through it. And when the right moment finally arrives, everything that once felt confusing begins to make sense. You will look back and realize that the silence was never emptiness. It was preparation. God was working quietly, arranging pieces of your life in ways that only he could see. And the things that once felt delayed were actually being prepared for the perfect moment. Another reason God sometimes allows seasons of silence in our lives is because silence reveals the true strength of our faith. Faith is easy when answers come quickly. It is easy to trust God when prayers are answered immediately. It is easy to believe when doors open right away. But real faith, deep faith, is formed during the moments when God seems quiet. Moments when you pray and nothing changes. Moments when you ask for direction, but the path ahead still feels uncertain. Moments when your heart wants reassurance, but heaven remains silent. These moments test something very important. They test whether our faith depends on results, or whether our faith depends on God himself. Because many people believe in God only when things are going well, when life is comfortable, when blessings are obvious, when everything is moving forward smoothly. But the true depth of faith is revealed when circumstances are difficult, when life becomes confusing, when answers do not come as quickly as we hoped. And in those moments, we are faced with an important choice. Will we continue trusting God, even when we cannot see what he is doing? Or will we allow doubt to replace our faith? Silence forces us to grow. It pushes us beyond shallow belief. It invites us into a deeper relationship with God. Because faith was never meant to depend only on visible miracles. Faith is the ability to trust even when miracles have not appeared yet. Think about the strongest people you know in their spiritual journey. Their faith did not become strong because life was always easy. Their faith became strong because they walked through seasons of uncertainty. They prayed through difficult moments. They trusted God through painful seasons. They continued believing even when answers took time. And through that process, their faith became unshakable. In many ways, silence becomes a training ground for the soul, a place where patience grows, a place where trust becomes deeper, a place where our relationship with God becomes stronger than our circumstances. Imagine what your life would look like if your faith was truly unshakable. Imagine having peace even when situations around you feel uncertain. Imagine walking forward with confidence even when the future is unclear. That kind of faith does not appear overnight. It grows slowly through experience, through moments when you choose to trust God one day at a time. Every prayer you continue to pray, even when the answer has not arrived yet, strengthens your faith. Every moment you choose hope instead of discouragement strengthens your faith. Every step forward you take while trusting God strengthens your faith. And over time, something powerful begins to happen. You stop depending on immediate answers. Instead, you begin to rely on something deeper. You begin to rely on the character of God. You remember that God has been faithful before. You remember that he has guided you through difficult seasons in the past. You remember that his plans have always been greater than what you could see at the moment. And slowly, your perspective changes. The silence that once felt frightening begins to feel different. Instead of seeing silence as abandonment, you begin to see it as a place of growth, a place where God is quietly shaping the strength of your spirit. Because the truth is this: God is not only interested in giving you blessings, he is interested in shaping the kind of faith that will carry those blessings. Faith that remains strong when life becomes unpredictable. Faith that remains steady when circumstances shift. Faith that does not collapse when answers take time. And when your faith reaches that level, something incredible happens. Fear begins to lose its power over you. Uncertainty begins to lose its control over your heart. You begin to walk forward with confidence, not because everything is clear, but because you trust the one who is leading you. That is the kind of faith that silence produces. A faith that is not based on immediate results. A faith that is rooted in trust. And when that kind of faith grows in your life, No season of silence will ever be able to shake you again. There is another powerful truth about the silence of God that many people do not realize. Sometimes, the silence comes right before a breakthrough. In life, the moments just before something changes are often the most difficult ones. They are the moments when you feel tired of waiting. The moments when you begin to wonder if anything will ever change. The moments when hope starts to feel fragile. But very often, these moments appear right before a new chapter begins. Think about the darkest moment of the night. Just before the sun begins to rise, the sky is still completely dark. There is no visible sign that morning is coming. No bright light on the horizon yet. No clear evidence that the night is about to end. But the sunrise is already on its way. In the same way, when God is preparing something new in your life, there is often a period of silence beforehand. A period where nothing seems to be moving. A period where the answers feel delayed. A period where you must continue walking forward without clear confirmation. But behind the scenes, something is shifting. God may be opening doors that you cannot see yet. He may be arranging opportunities that have not appeared in your life yet. He may be guiding people and circumstances into the exact positions needed for the next step of your journey. Because life is not random, and the plans God has for your life are not random either. Everything unfolds according to a timing that is greater than our understanding. From our perspective, we only see the present moment. But God sees the entire timeline of your life. He sees the opportunities that are coming. He sees the connections that will change your path. He sees the moments that will shape your future. And because He sees the full picture, He knows exactly when the right moment will arrive. Sometimes the silence we experience is simply the space between preparation and fulfillment. It is the moment between the seed being planted and the harvest appearing. If the harvest came immediately after the seed was planted, the plant would never have time to grow. The roots would never have time to strengthen. The life within the seed would never reach its full potential. Growth requires time. And the promises of God often grow quietly before they appear visibly. Many people give up during this stage. They stop believing just before things begin to change. They allow discouragement to convince them that nothing will ever happen. But the truth is, many breakthroughs happen right after the longest seasons of waiting. Because the waiting season prepares everything needed for that breakthrough. It prepares the circumstances. It prepares the opportunities. And most importantly, it prepares you. You see, if God gave you certain blessings too early, you might not be ready to carry them. The responsibility might overwhelm you. The pressure might discourage you. Or the opportunity might arrive before the right foundation is built. But when God moves at the right time, everything begins to align. The door opens at the moment when you are ready to walk through it. The opportunity appears when you are prepared to handle it. The breakthrough arrives when the timing is perfect. And when that moment finally happens, you begin to see why the silence was necessary. You begin to see how every delay was actually part of the preparation. Every unanswered prayer, part of the process. Every quiet moment, part of the journey. The silence was never the end of the story. It was the space where the story was being written. And if you are in that space right now, if you are in a season where God seems silent, do not lose hope. Do not assume that nothing is happening, because the silence may simply be the moment before something incredible begins. The sunrise may be closer than you think. And when that breakthrough finally arrives, you will understand something powerful. God was never absent. He was simply preparing the perfect moment to move. So if you are in a season right now where God feels silent, if you have been praying and wondering why the answers have not come yet, take a moment and remember something important. Silence does not mean abandonment. God has not forgotten you. He has not ignored your prayers. And He has not walked away from your life. Sometimes God's silence is simply part of a greater process. A process that prepares you for something far beyond what you can see today. While you are waiting, God may be shaping your character. He may be strengthening your faith. He may be guiding your life in ways that are invisible right now. Because the truth is this: God sees the full story of your life. He sees the doors that will open in the future. He sees the people who will enter your journey. He sees the opportunities that will change your path. And sometimes, in His wisdom, He chooses the perfect moment for those things to appear. Not the moment we expect, but the moment that is truly right. The waiting season can feel uncomfortable. It can test your patience. It can make you question whether your prayers have been heard. But often the waiting season is where the deepest transformation happens. It is where faith grows stronger. It is where trust becomes deeper. It is where the foundation for your future is quietly being built. And one day, when the silence ends, when the door finally opens, when the opportunity finally appears, you will begin to understand something that once felt confusing. You will see that every delay had a purpose. Every quiet moment had meaning. Every unanswered prayer was part of a greater plan. Because God was never inactive. He was never distant. He was simply working in ways that you could not yet see. So if you are walking through a silent season today, do not lose hope. Do not stop praying. Do not allow discouragement to take the place of faith. Instead, keep trusting. Keep believing. Keep moving forward one step at a time. Because the same God who placed dreams in your heart is the same God who knows exactly when those dreams should come to life. Your breakthrough may not arrive according to your timeline, but when it comes, you will see that God's timing was always perfect. And in that moment, the silence that once confused you will become the proof that God was guiding your story all along.